Ooh, alrighty. Let's get into it. I'll be honest. I'm a little emotionally, mentally, physically drained after the championship game, and then probably about a 48-hour celebration that took place afterwards. Also having to move out of my apartment, as you can see, in a different space here right now. And boy, I'm tapped out, not going to lie. So I don't know exactly how long this one's going to go. I want to get some of the things that have been on my mind about the championship game out there. I don't have too much else written down. We'll see what comes up out of all this, but thank you as always for tuning in. Shout out to my guy Bobby for the purchase. I think I had one other purchase right now. Who is it? Oh yeah, Millertime. And Millertime. Shout out to you, brother. And my guy Santeri bought a hat. So, dude, like I said, appreciate everybody for the support up to this point. It really, truly means a lot. Whether it's been the birthday, which was like 2 weeks ago now that I think about it, and now winning this championship. I'm just grateful for whoever's following along. Some people I know are verbal about it and vocal, tell me. Other people probably behind the scenes, but just know I appreciate you. So let's get into it. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Living for a Living, episode 89.
Living for a living, baby. How you doing?
Closing in on the triple digit 100. I guess that'll be while I'm out on the road, because I'll be here in Finland for another 3 weeks or so. Got to get the van all set up, which I also just released a first van life vlog. There's going to be 2 at least from here in Finland. So yeah, the plan right now that we got that championship won, and I'm going to get into that, but the plan is I got to build a bed frame and like a kitchen counter for the van. Maybe another chair or two, somewhere to eat, and then maybe electrical. And September 15th. So in about 2.5-3 weeks, we will hit the road heading west. And I'm very, very excited for that. That's going to be quite an experience, I think. It probably won't go perfectly or as planned, but that's part of the plan. Ooh. Like I said, I'm a bit tired. I'm not going to lie. For once, I don't feel like I have a ton to say. But it feels good to win another championship. I had won 2 when I was living in Portugal playing there. And those were really special for different reasons. But this one, it's hard to say if it's my favorite, but it's probably been the most rewarding in one sense. Portugal was really great, and those dudes are my brothers for life. But in a way, I guess it was always the goal, but I don't know. It's hard to compare, and I'm not trying to compare, to be honest. But this one, just with the amount of different moving pieces, we have 10 other guys, 11 including myself, that are from different parts of the world. And then the rest of the team is Finnish. All coaching staff is Finnish. And so just for all the moving parts to come together and be able to do what we did, and everyone had a little bit different role and all those, that, man, it's pretty cool. And I've looked back at this time. I knew, as I was supposed to play in Finland in 2019 in Vasa, which didn't end up working out. I've heard since that time there's somewhat of a reputation amongst people that don't know me, that I'm a certain way or do certain things that doesn't sound very true, but it is what it is. And so I knew it was going to be tough to get an opportunity to come back to Finland. But ever since I left 2019, in my mind, I've always thought I'm going to come back to Finland and I'm going to beat the Roosters in the championship. And so from the selfish way, it means a lot to me because I'd been plotting on this shit for years, literally years. And it didn't happen exactly how I thought. I thought that I was going to be in a QB OC kind of role and that it was going to be truly me doing it. And as I've reflected over these last couple days, this season here as just being quarterback and while having some input and having, being able to control things at the line occasionally and doing that, I can honestly say I put my trust into Pekka, our head coach and offensive coordinator, where in the past in Europe, I've never done that. And a big reason I've been so fond of being a quarterback and offensive coordinator is it's all on me. If I fuck up a throw, I can't, the OC can normally blame the quarterback if, he made the wrong read, he didn't make the throw. And then the quarterback can always say, well, we called stupid plays and so blah, blah, blah. But when you're both, it's you. And I've, throughout my career, mainly college, because that's where I had coaches, and going back to high school too, I've always kind of felt slighted or duped or lied to by most of the coaches I've had. Even, at least at the time. My junior college coach, Coach Byrne, was the best coach I've ever had from a strategical standpoint and just in a roundabout way teaching me to how to be a coach and how to transfer knowledge to other guys. But at a certain point there, I felt kind of slighted because I had to gray shirt the first year. And I thought I was better than the dude who was playing in front of me that year. And so just like I said, everywhere I've gone, and it's probably my own fault at the end of the day for either how I carried myself or how I went about my business one way or the other. I just always kind of never trusted coaches. And then especially Vasa came into play, and that was going to kind of be the first year of being back just quarterback. And I for sure could not trust the dude who was in power. And so it's been a good thing for me from just a personal standpoint to learn to trust and give some trust to somebody. And I have to admit it's a different thing. I take a lot of pride in doing shit myself, like even with this podcast, with everything throughout my life, it's always kind of been, I do it. I'll film it, I'll fucking edit it, I'll cut it up, I'll advertise it, I'll send the email, I'll do fucking everything. And I take pride in that. And that's the same would go for football up until this year. But I have to say it was fun to just be a part of the group. That's one of my biggest reflections on this entire year that I realized really early on. And because in the beginning, making that change mentally was super tough for me. Going from always doing everything to just having to play. Yeah, I have my beliefs. And I think, oh, well, we're not doing this right, or we could do this better, and why are we? Yeah. But it was just that old mentality that I'd been having of not trusting. And at a certain point, I don't know exactly, can't tell you what, I just made the switch and said, hey, you're here. The old adage, my mantra, it is as it should be and the timing's always right. Trust in it. Trust in them. Trust in him. And it truly paid off. And I can remember one of our first nights all going out as imports. This is probably back in April or May. And I'm just getting to be one of the guys, which hasn't been a thing throughout the years for various reasons. But when you're also the coach, sometimes it's hard to get guys to view you just as a guy. There's inherently a little bit of this hierarchy thing that's built in subconsciously. I don't think people think about it consciously. And so just being able to be one of the guys and not have to always be a leader from a coaching perspective, I really grew to enjoy, even though at first I did not like it at first. I will completely admit that. So yeah, I don't know. I just rambled for 10 minutes. I don't know. Talking about the game. Man, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't perfect. But very rarely that's how championship games are. Some weird shit always goes down in the championship. Luckily, our defense balled the fuck out. And I don't know, too many times in the history of football, it's pretty damn hard to lose if the other team doesn't score. And our defense shut them out. I think it's the first time that the Roosters, hats off to them. Their offense is incredibly talented. I don't think they've been shut out in a decade. I heard yesterday, last time was 2011. So that's pretty damn impressive. Off defense had 4 turnovers, I think, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. We ended up not turning it over once. And yeah, it was just one of those games that went so fast. Both teams were running the ball. Nobody's scoring, so there's no kickoffs, no kickoff returns. That's what takes the longest. It was like we blinked, and I can remember it being 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. I was like, holy shit. This game's almost over. And I definitely, I don't know, I still haven't watched the film yet. But I went into halftime feeling like, Jesus, this is the worst half I've played personally all season. And we're still winning in the championship. So it can only get better from here. And you kind of always look back at things. It's never as good as you think it was, never as bad as you think it was. Had the longest pass play of the day. Could have been a pick 6. Or threw a little 6-yard hitch to number 3 in trips. And their linebacker made a hell of a play. And got a hand on. I don't know if he got both hands. I think just a hand on it. And it tipped up and went right into the receiver's hands behind him, who was not the intended receiver. And then he ran for another 30, 40 yards before getting caught. And after that, I said, you know what? The ball's going to roll our way. And over my career, I've had some fucked up tipped interceptions that could never happen again, whether it be a defensive lineman intercepting me, whether it a receiver hitting in their hands, them dropping it and then kicking it into a DB's arms. I've had some crazy shit happen. So I kind of just got to the sideline, was talking with Pekka. I said, hey, the universe always evens out. And I'm appreciative that my time for it to even out came in this game right now. Other than that, offensively, we're in a ton of plays. We only scored 14 points. Ant ended up running for, I think, like 135 yards on like 32 carries. I had a couple carries for 20, 30 yards. Had a third down scramble. It was like 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 11 where I got just enough. And then the probably play of the game from my perspective, well, overall play of the game that really changed the tide was Maurice, our linebacker, had a forced fumble where he literally just took it away from the other guy, ran down 20, 30 yards. We came out on 2-3 plays in a row and then hit Hannes on a double move, little come back and go from about 20, 25 yards out for a touchdown. And I have to say that one was pretty sweet because it was on one of their cornerbacks who before the game was on some kind of podcast thingy, interview thing, and dude talked a little bit of shit. I respect him for it. I also think it was pretty fucking stupid to do so because he said something along the lines of, if the game came down to the ball being in my hands, he felt good because he didn't think I could win it, and also that our group of receivers is just okay. And was like very arrogant about it, but I guess, that goes with the territory. I understand. I don't know. For somebody who's pretty irrelevant throughout the game, it was just a lot of big words, and pretty irrelevant throughout the year. If it was one of their top guys, I'd get it. But for him, I don't know. And so let's just say I was excited to get the touchdown on him and made sure he knew that I was excited about it too. So I think on my way to go celebrate with Hannes, pretty sure I ran right by him, looked him dead in the eyes and said, "Shut the fuck up." But I give the dude some respect. After the game, he was, wanted to shake everybody's hand. Good game, took the L like a man. I had to slip in one more thing just about, it was just an okay day. And so, yeah, it was like you add those little kind of battles, but the Roosters are the funnest team to play against out here, that's for sure. Just because they kind of talk a little shit, but it's not in a unrealistic way. There are some other teams out here who are down by 30 points talking shit like they're winning by 30. And the Roosters aren't that way at all. And then they're also damn good and have coaches on both sides of the ball that scheme you up and make you think and make adjustments. And so they're fun to play. They're super fun to play. I'm looking forward. I have a feeling I'll be back here for another season. And so I'm interested to see that battle continue. And then I know it's been Steelers and Roosters for a majority of the last 4 years. But I know other teams will make some noise too. And kind of keep some of those battles going. Will be super fun also. 'Cause from what I hear, not a lot of teams like me very much, which I don't blame you. Because if you've ever played with me, I like to talk while I'm out there. And I got no problem speaking what's on my mind, as the podcast shows that. So it'll be fun to kind of keep it going and see what's next. It's the other real cool thing about this season is that my old team from Czech Republic, the Gladiators, they won their first Czech championship on Saturday. And then the majority of my teammates from Poland played on a new team because the team I played for in Poland, the Gdynia Seahawks, no longer exist. And so they played on this team called the Archers, and they also won their first Polish championship this year. And so it's been a cool thing to see on Facebook throughout the year that a lot of my former teammates all won it. And so it's the year of the championship for a lot of different people, and just kind of seeing that collective enthusiasm. And for both the two Polish team and Czech team, their first championships ever. Kuopio here, it's the second championship because they won it last year. But there was just kind of a different thing this year because it was against the Roosters, whereas last year was against the Wolverines. And, talking with a couple guys from the team last year, they said, we just knew for sure we were going to win going into the game last year. This year we were confident, but there's still you never know with the Roosters kind of thing. And so it just had its own newness to it. And as I said, this group of guys here was fun to be a part of. The main thing and the main reason is overall everybody cared about the success of the collective more so than they did the success of the individual. And that was especially true with the two guys who won Player of the Year awards, Ant and Maurice. They both won, I think, league MVP and offensive MVP or something like that. Where those two dudes are two of the better teammates I've had the pleasure to play with. And very rarely are the most skilled dudes who are in one way or another carrying the team also then the best teammates. But in our case it was, and there's a lot of people that deserve credit, everybody does, but that was something that inspired me. I felt in a way at times, I think championship game only threw the ball 16 times or something. There are a couple other games this year we're throwing it under 20 times, which I haven't done in my career in Europe, I don't think ever. I mean, there's probably been a game or two where I throw it less than 20 times because we have 5 touchdowns in the first 7 throws, or we just blow a team out like that. And so it's been more just running the clock out rather than the actual strategy. And so at times, I'll admit, the ego gunslinger in me wanted to slang that thing. But just taking that step back and saying, hey, the most important stat, I'm not a big, huge stat guy or anything. I just more so just want to throw the fucking ball. But the most important stat is the W column. And ironically, the game that I had the most stats in this year, we lost. So there's a lesson to be learned in there somewhere. It's been fun to sit back with the guys. Monday we literally drank all day and kind of reflecting with some of the guys about thoughts going into the season and getting me here early, and how during February practice we didn't have very many guys, and the 3 receivers we did have ended up I didn't throw one pass to them in the real game the entire year. So it was some dark days, literally and figuratively, in February out here. There was some drama with some guys leaving the team and all that kind of stuff. But it all balances out at the end of the day. And, it's so cliche, but sometimes those darkest nights turn into the brightest sunrises in the morning. And if that ain't the truth. But it was just fun to sit back with. There's only a few guys, Pekka, Erkka, that really kind of knew what some of the thoughts were from myself and what I knew, what they were thinking. And so being able to sit back and think, can you believe we're sitting right here after being where we were in February? And as I started this thing, for me it was even more of a trip. I got a comment on one of the posts from my buddy Mark Milan, who I was rooming with in Vasa, and he ended up leaving the team mid-season like myself. And he said, hey, super happy to see this, man. Not many people know the journey that it took to get there. And I was really grateful for that comment, because it just, I knew, I guess getting that acknowledgement from somebody who truly, truly knew, as we had some trying not to go insane moments there for a week or two together, that it just felt good to sit back and reflect and think, man, we've came a long ways. Long, long ways. And then just also getting to finish a season after the Spanish season got canceled. And I don't think we would have won the championship that year in Spain, to be completely honest. We didn't have the team. But then in Czech, we were 7-0, and we beat the second best team by 21 points. So as it was proven this year, as they just won it, we were going to fucking win that championship. And so kind of not getting to have that, this was a very sweet victory on multiple levels. I kind of, for my own record reference, I consider that last year in Czech a championship year with an asterisk next to it. And so that puts it at 4 championships, 3 officially in 3 different countries. And I have to say I'm proud of that resume. Had one opportunity in Poland. First year in Poland, we lost in the championship. And then that second year, we lost in the semis. But it's been a wild ride so far. And I guess having it end with a championship, or a truly a final game, it gives it a definite period to the sentence that you get to sit and reflect. Whereas the difference of COVID ending seasons, there wasn't that period that you knew was coming. It's kind of a, what's the semicolon? Yeah, that's probably a good analogy. I don't even know how to use a semicolon. I use them sometimes while I'm writing. I think they make you look smart and cool. I have no idea why. Hold on, let's look that up. Let's learn something today. How to use a semicolon. Okay, it says use a semicolon to join 2 related independent clauses in place of a comma and a coordinating conjunction. A conjunction is and, but, or, nor, for, so, yet. Make sure when you use the semicolon that the connection between the 2 independent clauses is clear without the coordinating conjunction. So you kind of use it instead of those words, and so it's kind of like a comma plus one of those words, but you don't really need one of those words. So like I said, it makes you sound pretty smart. And so actually I think that's a good analogy. Is a championship, true championship, end of a season is a period. A COVID ending season is just a semicolon for the next year. But then I didn't get the next year at either of those places. I am going to do a championship podcast with as many of the guys from the team that I can, where I probably maybe talk to everybody for 10, 15 minutes max, So depending on how many guys I get, that could be an hour to 3 hour episode. I'm going to try and get that done here in the next week. Talk with some of the imports, some of the local guys. Try and get everybody's origin story of starting football. I think that's one of the most interesting things playing out here in Europe, is for the most part everyone's origin story is very different, and like what the first earliest memory of football is, and then tell some stories about the season. We'll see what happens with that, but so stay on the lookout for that. But I think that covers it for the championship episode. It's short, it's sweet. I got a couple other things written down here, but I think I'm going to save them, because right now, like I said, I'm a little tired, but I wanted to get this out of my mind before it wasn't too fresh. So, with that said, as always, thanks for tuning in. We'll continue this with someone next to me next time. And until then, peace and much love. Holla.
Tell me, baby.
Yeah.
What's that story?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about you lately.
Yeah, come on.
Tell me, darling,
What else?
you're a star girl.
What else?
How the fuck do you not know the deal?
What else?
I've been thinking about you lately, and
What
it's
else?
got me going crazy.
What else?
I'm playing for you, baby.
What else?
Listen up. Listen up,
Uh-huh.
got me thinking about you, baby. And it's happening all the time. So I'm playing for you, darling. Now listen up, listen up.
Listen up.